Don Bacon is a unique creature in the Republican Party. He's kind of an endangered species, you might say, because while most of the GOP, it seems, is lapdogging or lap dancing for your reigning POTUS, Don Bacon is standing up to Trump's policies and his comments earlier today on Face the Nation with Martha Brennan. Well, they are vitally important, as you're about to see. Because guys like Don Bacon, and there aren't many, they're trying to stop-gap an unchecked presidency and restore some authority. Well, in this case, congressional authority on tariffs back into the legislative branch. Now, that interview is next, but let's remember that the gentleman who represents Nebraska's 2nd District has shown backbone regarding Trump in the past.
Putin's made clear that he wants to reestablish his old borders. And that's not in our national security interest. So to me, this is a national security issue, also a moral issue.
Would you say that Donald Trump is appeasing Vladimir Putin?
Appears that way, though I can't get into his motives. I don't know his motives. Some people think he's doing this for negotiating and maybe help get a better deal. I don't know. All I know is what he says. And when he says that Russia is not the invader, that's Ukraine's fault, that's just wrong.
Is there danger in this?
Yep, there is. I fear what this means. We came out of World War II, the dominant power, the indispensable country for freedom. We've had NATO, and I worry that this framework is going to collapse.
Don Bacon's legislative announcement on Face the Nation comes as a refreshing counterpoint to Trump's other enablers, who were all over the Sunday news shows this morning, trying to explain away your depleted retirement.
Again, I'll give you the simple example. If you have an apple tree that has 100 apples, and then you're paying $1 an apple, and then there's a 10-cent tax, then if you raise the price to $1.10, people reduce their demand, and so maybe they only demand 90 apples, but then you got 10 apples left, and so what are you supposed to do with the 10 apples that nobody wants? So what happens is the suppliers have to lower the price of apples in order to get back to 100 and 100. And so the question is supply inelastic or not? And I think that by seeing persistent trade deficits year after year, then we can say, yeah, supply is very inelastic.
So you're saying consumers are either going to have to buy less or pay more, but the tariff is a tax, as you just conceded.
No, what happens is that the supplier cuts his price so that the price is still $1, in my example.
Yeah, okay, but he also wants to chop down that apple tree, right? I know I saw that. I get sympathetic nervous mouth just watching Kevin Hassett speak. Now, in stark contrast, Congressman Don Bacon lays it on the line with his newly proposed legislation that would re-empower Congress as the Constitution intended, just like he really laid it on the line last week regarding the Signal debacle.
So I just think it's a security violation. And there's no doubt that Russia and China saw this stuff, within hours of the actual attacks on Yemen or the Houthis. So that's wrong. This is a gross error, and it's intentional. They intentionally put highly classified information on an unclassified device. I would have lost my security clearance.
And so should each and every member of that dink squad that was on that Signal chat. Now, here's Representative Don Bacon earlier today on Face the Nation, attempting to seize back whatever's left of the GOP's political cojones.
I know you are introducing companion legislation to what Senator Cantwell just laid out for us. But as I understand it, in the House, Republican leaders have already restricted the ability to rein in changes to the Mexico, Canada, and China tariffs. They tucked language into the continuing resolution. Does that get in your way when you are trying to now claw back some congressional control of tariffs?
Well, first of all, good morning, Margaret. Thanks for having me on. And I enjoyed listening to Senator Cantwell. I support the legislation that Senator Grassley, Senator Cantwell, we have a total of 7 Republicans in the Senate. And I have some beginning support on the House side, which we'll unveil tomorrow. It will be harder to pass this in the House, no doubt. I think if we get 60 votes in the Senate, they'll put pressure on the House to look at this. And if we continue to see the stock market go a certain direction, or if we see inflation or unemployment shift in a bad way, I think then this bill becomes a very viable bill. So it will not pass tomorrow or maybe in the next couple of weeks, but this will be in the queue that we can use. And it's time that Congress restores its authorities here. In the Constitution, it's clear. The House and the Senate, Congress has the power of tariffs and taxes, And we gave some of that power to the executive branch. And I think in hindsight, that was a mistake.
Yeah, Jagger, hindsight's 2020, and let's keep that in mind looking ahead, because millions of Americans will go to bed tonight wondering if they will wake up, God forbid, to another Black Monday crash tomorrow. Now, there's not one good reason for this, not while the hypocrite in chief racks up yet another tournament win in his phony baloney golf club. Where, I ask you, is the outrage?
Obama, it was reported today, played 250 rounds of golf.
Everything's executive order because he doesn't have enough time because he's playing so much golf.
Obama ought to get off the golf course and get down there.
I'm going to be working for you. I'm not going to have time to go play golf.
He played more golf last year than Tiger Woods.
This guy plays more golf than people on the PGA Tour.
I love golf. I think it's one of the greats, but I don't have time.
If I were in the White House, I don't think I'd ever see Turnberry again. I don't think I'd ever see Doral again.
I'm not going to be playing much golf, believe me. If I win this, I'm not going to be playing much golf.